What's up, internet? It's your guy, Johnny Cool, and today we are here with Zhong Li and another Genshin Impact video. If you guys didn't see the summons for Zhong Li, they were awesome because I got my wife to summon and she has no clue anything about Genshin, so we got my wife to summon for her husbando and she didn't even know it. If you didn't see that video, go check it out. But today, we're going to talk about what everybody wants to know, and that is Zhong Li teams. Everybody's dying to know what teams he fits on, how does he work, and so today I want to break down for you guys my 5 favorite teams for Zhong Li. Now, it's going to be a while before we can theory craft and test exactly what the best teams are and exactly what those numbers are going to come out to be, but for now, I got 5 teams here that I want to show you and showcase for you today that can help you build the ultimate team for Zhong Li. Now, before we jump into it, one thing we got to talk about. Is Zhong Li a carry or is he a support? I can absolutely do a showcase video showing both aspects of him because the answer is shockingly, he can be both. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, he looks like a support. There's no way he could be a carry. There's just no way.
Oh no, that is insane. I will burn this place to the ground.
No, really, Zhong Li can absolutely carry, and he can do it relatively well. He may not be the extreme hyper carry that Child C6 could be or that Diluc can be, but he is going to be a very strong carry, especially for free to play. All right, so what I'm getting at is we're going to show you some teams that are usable with support Zhong Li, and we're going to show you some teams that are usable with carry Zhong Li. Now, I don't have my Zhong Li fully maxed out, but I will show you what I got, just so you can kind of compare for yourself what your numbers look like, so you can know what to expect when you get here. As you can see, my artifacts are nothing special level-wise. Look, I've got a 0 level artifact here. That ain't great. So I'm rocking the Retracting Bolide set. This is going to be his strongest set, more than likely, for him to be a hyper carry, and a really strong set for him to be support. Though there is an argument to be made for the Archaic set 2-piece combined with something else that gives maybe some Elemental Burst or other sets. We got to get into some of that math, and we got to jump into exactly what his best sets are going to be. But for now, I'm going to set you guys on a path so that you can get started and you can take your Zhong Li and do some awesome damage with him. So let's get into it.
And here we go.
All right, the first team for Zhong Li that we're going to look at is one of my favorite team comps. And to make a good Zhong Li team comp, the thing you got to know about Zhong Li is he fits everywhere. He fits on every team. So that's one of the things that makes him really appealing. Other than the fact that he's freaking cool. He can go on almost any team. And so that means your team comp builds, you've got a lot of variety. Now, one thing that I've done with these is, we're gonna go over the support comps first. One thing that I've done is, with all my team builds, how I enjoy playing the game, one of the strongest ways I think you can play is I usually have a hyper carry and then a support DPS that carries by elemental damage that they can throw out on the field that carries over back to their hyper carry to do elemental reactions and cause additional damage. And then I have a healer, obviously. But that third slot, you'll see here, this third slot right here, I usually try to run some form of utility because I find that in Abyss and in some of the harder levels of the dungeons that having utility is extremely important. And so we're talking about characters like Venti, Sucrose, Zhong Li, as you're going to see. There's a lot of characters that provide utility to your team as well as damage that are going to be invaluable. So when I run support, I'm running my Zhong Li in that utility slot. So in this team comp, we've got Child. He's going to be our hyper carry doing water damage. We're going to get some great Vaporize combos with the Jingling here. And then Chi-Chi works really well with Zhong Li. And if you don't have a Chi-Chi, you can use Diona here. Diona is also really good with Zhong Li, not only because she can provide nice little ice elemental damage, but she gives shields, which is really, really important for Zhong Li. As you know, I'm sure you've seen his abilities in his showcase. Now, if you don't have Child, you can pretty much use any hyper carry here. Any 4-star hyper carry will work. You'll see as we go through the other teams that I'm going to provide a lot of 4-star options for you guys. But for now, this is the team I'm going to rock, and I thought what better way to showcase it than just to take it into Abyss to show you guys kind of how it looks in Abyss. So I'm going to jump into Abyss 9 here, which is not too terribly strong, not too terribly difficult, but it is going to showcase you what these characters can do and how they can interact with each other, all right? First, you want to hit his E, first you want to tap it, because if you hold it down, it's going to give him an additional shield, and that's going to increase his damage, and it's just really good to do. But I like to start off my fights with Chi-Chi, then we're going to drop the scabbard in the ground. Now we're just going to go to town. And you're going to see here, I already messed up because I accidentally hit Z twice. Look at that though. Look at that. They're all frozen. Like, this is amazing, right? You go back to your fire damage. We can go back to here. Now when Zhong Li's thing goes away, you can drop it back. And in fact, look at his ult. It's already back up. That was me holding down E and getting a little bit of a damage boost. So you can see his damage numbers as I've got him right now. They're okay. They're not great. We'll talk about that more when we talk about him being a hyper carry, but you get the gist, right? Take a sip from my baby Yoda cup. This is a team comp that will work really well for you. If you don't have Kaching, another great option here is Razor. Razor and Beidou could kind of work here, but I would strongly recommend Razor if you've got him. But we've got Chongyun here for some ice reactions, which is going to give us super conduct when we combine these two, which is really good. We've got Jean here as your healer because she's going to provide some Animo burst as well as a nice healing field, and that is going to sync really well with Zhong Li's ult. Now again, if you don't have Jean, any 4-star healer will work. There's a lot of options, but this is one that I wanted to show you guys kind of how it will work in Abyss, so you can kind of get a feeling for how this team comp's going to go. And the awesome thing about Zhong Li is he's going to work on pretty much every floor. So one of the things that Jean does is she uses her E to push characters, which is really cool. Look, we got a level 1 Chongyun, and that E is going to combine really nicely with Zhong Li because they're already all in a row, and boom, we've just got tons of damage right there. So one of the things to note about this floor as a sidebar is there's a lot of electric units here, so Kaching isn't going to look as impressive because when I use her electric abilities, most of these guys are immune, all the electric slimes, but you get the gist, right? One of the things I think that is actually super underrated about Zhong Li is the actual survivability he brings to the team through the stun, the AoE stun, and through that shield. That is actually crazy. So when you're playing Zhong Li support, the thing you mainly want to do is you mainly want to make sure that his E stays out as long as you can, and you want to keep all the enemies here in his field if possible, because they're going to constantly tick damage. This is your standard fire hyper carry team comp. I love to run Fischl with this team comp because Fischl's bird provides a lot of great overload and reaction damage, as well as she's just a super strong character for support DPS. Barbara I threw in here because I think Barbara is actually super underrated in some aspects of the game. Now, you don't want to use Barbara if there's any type of ice damage that could freeze you, because when she heals, she puts a wet effect on your team, but she has this awesome weapon. It's called Thrilling Tales of the Dragon Slayer, and it's a 3-star weapon, pretty easy to get max refinement, and it's going to give you basically 50% additional attack when characters take the field. Now, if you don't have a Diluc, honestly, this is going to be crazy, but a Bennett hyper carry will work. Bennett is super strong, he's very versatile, and he can work as a main carry unit. I'd give him a shot if you don't have him. Other than that, this is an extremely free-to-play or low-budget player-friendly team because you only have to have one 5-star on here, which is Zhong Li. So we're gonna pop that, do this. We're gonna go out here. We're gonna go ahead and drop his ult. It's gonna freeze everybody, and then boom, look at this. I mean, this just synergizes so well. They're all lined up right there. I did that a little bit slow. They broke out a little bit, but as you can see, the damage is just nutty. I'm gonna go back here, give myself another shield, and we're gonna repeat the cycle. We go back to Barbara, who is a fantastic unit again, because she has that book that gives you the 48% damage buff, which is just nutty. So we're getting a little away. Sometimes you gotta reposition his E, his pillar, because, oh, his E pillar just got busted right there. But you gotta reposition his E because you're constantly gonna be moving in these fights. The team comp is really fun. Gonna get some nice elemental chains going. And I mean, it's just sick. This team is going to just wreck anything that you can use it for. It is going to be a fantastic team. Let's just watch this animation again. It's so good! It's so good! Alright guys, now we're going to talk about what some of you have been waiting for this whole time. How do we make Zhong Li hypercarry teams? And how can you do it? One thing that I saw that was really interesting was some of the math guys were talking about his attacks and his ratios. And let me tell you, I'm not a math guy. I just rely on smarter people than me to tell me what to do. And one of the things they were saying is his attack speed is extremely fast. And what allows him to be a physical DPS hypercarry is that move right there, where you cancel the animation after he kicks the spear, but the spear actually goes off. So I did a two over there. It's going to take some practice, but you're going to get tons of hits in. You can just jump cancel it. And the spear is going to do damage as well as allowing you to reset that animation by jump canceling. And that's going to add a ton of DPS to your gameplay. We got Bennett on here because he just does everything really well. He heals, he gives great ult damage, he gives a big boost to your team. We got Qi on here because he's one of the best, if not arguably the best, supporting DPS character in the game with his E ability. It puts swords and it does a lot of damage. And then I like to run Sucrose or Venti. Either one is going to be crazy. I put a Sucrose on here because not everybody's going to have access to Venti, especially if you started playing later. But both characters work, and Venti synergizes extremely well with Zhong Li's Q because Venti scoops him up, Zhong Li's Q freezes him. Now, keep in mind, guys, that my team is extremely low level and my Zhong Li's not fully built. He doesn't have max talents yet, as well as the fact that he doesn't have his artifacts leveled up or his weapon. His weapon is extremely low level right now. Like I said, I think it's 50. So his damage as a hypercarry will be a lot higher, and I'm planning to build him that way, and I can do a showcase video for you guys if you want to see that once it's done. I just kind of want to show you the gameplay and what these teams feel like so you can know what to work towards as you build to it, okay? So we're going to switch to Qi. We're going to do that. We're going to use Bennett's ult because it's awesome. I'm going to throw out Sucrose ult, and then blah blam. You know what? That was actually a misplay. I should have given myself the damage buff, but that's okay. You guys get the gist. My Sucrose died in that because she's level 1. That's hilarious. So that's kind of what this team comp will do. Again, Sucrose, had she stayed alive, would have been a really nice addition for the Animo boost damage, as well as Venti being a great substitute for this team comp to group them all up and wreck them with your Q. Alright guys, now this last team comp, you guys probably expected in some form or fashion, but this is going to be a stupidly strong team comp for Zhong Li to hypercarry. Now, we've got Geo Resonance here, which is really strong. It's going to give, when protected by a shield, increase attack damage by 15%. And Diona does shields. Ningguang pops out a little thing that gives shields. And Zhong Li gives a massive shield. So you're going to pretty much have a flat additional 15% damage. Now, one of the interesting things about this team is this is a team comp where you could actually run Ningguang or Zhong Li as a hypercarry, and you could swap them for support because they're really versatile characters. They can both work in either role. It's just all about how you build them. But this is going to be a really strong team comp. As a side note, you could use the Geo Traveler. I think this is going to be a little bit better of a team comp than putting the Geo Traveler in there, but we got to do some more testing to see. And as a final note on this team, Fischl here, I'm using her because she's one of my favorite support DPS characters, but you could absolutely swap her for pretty much any of the other strong support DPS characters of different elements. Qi would be a great choice. Ling could also be a strong choice. This team comp right here, when we take it in here, is not going to look that great as Spiral Abyss because none of my characters are leveled, and that's a problem. That's a problem. This is a really strong idea for a team comp that is going to go a long way. So, again, this is not going to do very much because those guys aren't very leveled. But you can see this is kind of what the gameplay would be like here, and it's going to be really fun. It's going to be a team you're going to want to invest in because you're going to actually end up doing tons of damage here. Anyway, guys, that's 5 super top tier teams that you guys can build right now for Zhong Li. I'd love to get some feedback and know what you guys think. Who are you planning on running? What team are you going to use? And if you want to see more content like this, let me know in the description down below. If you hadn't done it already, hit that like button. Come on and subscribe.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Oh, what a sellout to say it at the end. I almost made it a whole video without saying it. Once we hit 100 subscribers, we're gonna do a Primo Gem giveaway. We're out here having fun with Zhong Li. Guys, until next time, peace. Is the outro music playing?